Do I have time to use the restroom before we go? Or before we start?
Just go in my mouth.
Tell me. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, honey. Why do you keep looking at the camera? You recorded this, aren't you? Oh, my God. Oh. We're off to a great start.
That's more like a great finish.
Oh, my God. Jesus. I don't even have a hat on. You know, I knew I was in trouble when the pearls came out today.
I'm going to try to wear the pearls in every episode.
Pearls in the light, send
and
alarms.
The camera.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They send the alarms now.
Welcome to the very first episode of Appropriately Inappropriate with Tara and Brian. You may know us from Instagram or TikTok, where I horrify Brian with dirty pickup lines, and he always says, "Oh my God, honey," and turns some shade between red and purple, right? But now you're going to get more of us, which will include hilarious stories, listener questions, as well as anything y'all send us. This podcast is a work in progress, so bear with us as we sort of figure out how it's going to go, and make sure to DM or comment with things that you like so we know to bring you more of what you like. If you're not already following us, please do so. We're at Tara Blairball on TikTok and Instagram, and Tara.Blairball on YouTube. And all of our full episodes will be on YouTube. I brought my emotional support eggplant.
Oh my God.
I actually posted this on Instagram, and some people asked why I couldn't just hold yours. But there's two very good reasons why I couldn't. For one, I don't think that would shoot really well or be very appropriate on camera. And I also think it would make it hard, for you to focus.
What did I get myself into?
We did get a lot of good comments. Now, if you're listening instead of watching, imagine a little plushy eggplant that's palm size, so small, okay? So some people said it's a grower, not a shower. One person said it's perfectly average sized. And another person said that's why you always date somebody with small hands. But I brought this because I was actually nervous.
You nervous?
Yeah. It's our first podcast together, so I felt nervous, and this provides me some emotional support.
I feel like I need to write this down in the calendar.
I was nervous. I'm surprised you didn't bring your emotional support hat.
I feel like running and getting it.
We've often gotten the question of how did these lines start? That's our most common question on our comments or DMs or emails. How did these lines start? Are we doing them just for social media content? So Brian, how did these lines start? What's your story?
These lines are embedded in the DNA of our marriage. They have been a thing for years. They've always been there. My wife was relationship coaching, and she was looking for a change and said, "Hey, I got an idea for some content creation." And I made the mistake of asking what it was. You know these lines I do on you around the house? Yeah. I want to film them. We tried one, and here we are.
Yeah, I think we did our first one, and I posted them to my TikTok account, and it just exploded. And then it's proceeded to explode on Instagram and Facebook. But I actually think I know exactly where they started. Exactly the time it started. And I think we can actually blame you for why they started.
I'm over here clueless, don't know where this is going.
Well, I do need your permission if I can talk about the first time we got to know each other biblically. You entered my lady garden the very first time.
Okay, against my better judgment, out of pure curiosity, yes, you have permission, because I don't know where this is going.
Okay. I do need to set the stage first. The first time I met Brian on our first date, he's a proper gentleman. He's dressed nice. I think you're wearing like a suit coat, a collared shirt. You're very buttoned up and gentlemanly. Like, open the door, pull my seat back. Gentleman. And I had made it clear during our first date that I was interested in kissing. I had crossed the touch barrier. That's what it's called, right? I had touched your arm, I think. I had my leg resting against yours. I had made it clear that, hey, you can definitely kiss me. And we had gotten to eat in this restaurant in this area in Memphis where we live called the Cooper Young District. The Cooper Young District, there's 2 streets of restaurants and stores, but it's mostly a residential area, single family homes. So Brian offered to walk me to my car after our date, and I was parked a block and a half away from the restaurant. So he walks me down the street, and I happened to be parked in front of someone's home. And I remember at the time that when we stopped in front of where my car was, that I could see the light on in this person's house and could see all the way into the living room and see that they were sitting and watching television. And here's Brian. We stopped. I was like, here's my car. And I was thinking, hey, he's gonna lean down and kiss me. And you didn't immediately act like that's what was going to happen. You didn't. So I'm just sort of standing there, and I even kind of moved toward my vehicle thinking, okay, this guy's not going to kiss me. And you say, hey, can I kiss you? And and I was like, oh, okay. And so we kiss. And it, again, is connected to that idea of Brian's just a gentleman. He's going to ask for my consent. That's the kind of guy he is. He's going to make sure I'm cool with it. He's vanilla, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
okay?
I'm over here getting really nervous because I think I know where this is going.
Yeah. So the first time Brian enters my lady garden,
oh my God.
penetrates my infield, however we want to call it.
Help.
Again, it's early on in our relationship, and this is my perception. He's a gentleman. He's all buttoned up. He's vanilla. So we're getting started, okay? And Brian whispers in my ear.
We were already started.
We were already started. Yeah. Okay, so in media res, in the middle of the act, Brian whispers in my ear, "Is that my pussy?"
Oh my God.
And I was startled to the point that I froze. Because, again, I have this idea in my head. Brian is a gentleman. Brian's vanilla. And here's this. Brian is a gentleman of the streets and a freak in the sheets. But Brian says, "Is that my pussy?" And I respond back, "Yeah." In my head, mind you, I've frozen for a second. But in my head, it felt like much longer that I had frozen. But in my head, I'm like, this is just the interview, sir. Like, this is just the interview. After we're done, I'll report back my findings to the board, and we'll decide whether to proceed or not.
Well, it clearly went well because I've got the job.
You were hired, and you got tenure.
Yeah.
But that was that moment where I was like, okay, this guy can handle some shock factor. This guy, he's got some layers. He's an onion. We just need to unwrap. So in the world, Brian's a gentleman, but behind closed doors with no camera on and no light.
Oh my God, I can't believe you're putting that out there. Oh.
Fred, there's more to Brian. There's more layers.
I can't help but to laugh. Oh my gosh.
I remember I told a friend afterward, and I was like, he said this. He's not even my boyfriend yet or anything like that. My friend was like, that's bold. Yep, that's Brian. This week on Instagram, I asked our followers what's their most embarrassing sex moments, and I got some good responses. I'll read a couple. And a ton of you wrote in. If you haven't yet, make sure that you DM or comment with yours, because we will definitely read them and decide which ones are funny to share with y'all. But these are good. And Brian hasn't heard these yet. So.
No, I haven't.
All right, here's the first one. I waited until my boyfriend was close and then shouted, "Crunchitize me, Captain," so loudly that my roommates heard and started laughing.
Oh my gosh.
I think clearly I need to do that.
No, I was thinking that would be horrifying, but I guess that's our thing. Oh my gosh.
This next one is, I thought his mole was his nipple, and I started playing with it.
Did he stop and say, like, "What are you doing?"
I don't know. I feel like I would either need to marry that person or never see them again after that. That would be a one and done, or we're going to be married and this is what we're going to laugh about.
All right, so just while we're on the topic, I know there's guys out there, they're nipple guys. I'm not a nipple guy. Like, I don't.
You want the world to know that?
No, I like, if you're ever thinking that in your head, like.
Oh, you're saying you don't want me to play with your nipples.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what you're saying.
That's exactly where I'm going with that. I'm like, she's reading this. I can see her processing this later on. Yeah. Let's just end that there.
If I want to irritate Brian, I will play with his nipples. That bugs him to no end. This other one that I think is kind of similar to things that we have done. It said, afterward, I gave her a fist pump and said, cheers, bro.
No. We're usually good game.
Yeah, we usually it's not every time, but we might slap each other on the butt afterward and say good game.
Yeah, we have a very humorous marriage. Like, we love to laugh. Like, we are best friends.
Yes. So that is absolutely something that we've done before. If you have not shared your hilarious sex story with us or sex moment with us, make sure to comment or DM.
I thought you were asking me. I'm like, oh.
You're like, no. All right. Our next one, we've got a relationship question. And this is one, honestly, I get a lot. Like, people reach out for like a relationship advice. So this question is, are relationships or marriages work? What do you think?
Say it again.
Are relationships or marriages work?
Do they work?
Work. Like, is it work to be in a relationship?
Oh, yeah. I mean, all right. So it's pretty simple. It's two people coming together, agreeing on
together. Yeah. There we go. Two people coming together at the same time. That's the best scenario.
All right. So I'm going to speak to ours. So we're partners.
Mm-hmm.
It's two people with a common goal who discuss all aspects. Communication is key. But I mean, we're always giving 100%. So it's like, you don't give 50, I don't give 50. I give 100, you give 100. There's days that, like, you were sick not too long ago.
Oh yeah,
like
my 100 was not anywhere near what your 100 was.
But that's for me to step up. I took care of the kids, bath, all the stuff. Like, just wanted you just to lay down and rest. And then if I'm not feeling good, or when I'm away traveling,
mm-hmm.
like, you step up, you do everything. So I mean, they're work, but I look at it as, you get what you put into it. Is it worth it? Absolutely. I wouldn't trade my marriage for anything.
I just don't like the use of the word work. I mean, I don't think anybody wants to work in general.
Yeah, I see that.
I see it more like, our relationships effort. Yeah, absolutely. I've got to put effort into my relationship, into my marriage with you. I just think work has such a negative connotation. I don't want to work. I don't want to feel like I'm working, like this is a job. It's not what I want for myself and what would be enjoyable for me, but putting in regular intentional effort. And we have 4 kids.
Yeah.
Only 3 live with us at this time. Our oldest is away in college. It's very intentional how we spend time together,
mm-hmm.
how we make quality of the time that we have together, because our lives are really busy. Brian still works. Brian has a full-time job. This is not his full-time job. Creating content and the filming and the editing and the writing, that's my full-time job. So it's different. Brian's busy. He travels for work. We have 3 kids. 2 are in elementary school. 1's in pre-K. The kids stuff falls to me primarily because, for one, Brian's traveling. He can't. I've got to deal with homework and backpacks and lunches and pickups and drop-offs and extracurriculars. And that's just how it's fallen for our relationship. But Brian picks up slack in other ways. Like, he's doing laundry for 5 people on a regular basis. That's a lot of work that I don't want to do.
Yeah, but that was agreed on very early in our marriage. Mm-hmm. I don't like dishes. You don't like laundry. So that's kind of how we split things.
And we have outside help that comes in to clean the house, because
we
have attempted to clean our house ourselves, and that was all that it was a very poor and sad attempt at cleaning our own homes, because we're both busy people where both of us work.
Yeah, if you can outsource things, I highly recommend it. Think about what is your time worth and quality time you want to spend with your family, and there's things you can outsource.
Yeah, and as Brian said earlier when he was talking about it, that it is really good if y'all come together. You know, that you do work that dick or work that pussy or however you want to do that. But that's a valuable that's a valuable thing to add. I think I read a study that the happiest couples have sex at least once a week. But it's up to whatever the couple is too. We get asked a lot of questions about our sex life, which we don't. I mean, there's some things that we're going to be private about. Like,
absolutely.
But it does segue very nicely into our plan for next week.
Okay, give it to me.
So next week, we promise to answer the question once and for all of if we have ever had an OnlyFans and if or when we will start an OnlyFans account. Right, Brian?
Okay.
You knew this was coming. You knew we were going to talk about this. Are you acting like we didn't? But if you liked this episode, please make sure to subscribe, download, comment, send us any feedback you have, any questions or great stories that you have. And if you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on social media. We're at Tara Blair Ball on Instagram and TikTok and at tara.blairball on YouTube. And you can also find our full videos up on YouTube. If you like this episode, also please write a review so other people can find it. Yep. But until next time, stay inappropriate. Anything to add, Brian?
Yeah, I want the stories. Please send the stories.